Hi, this is Melanie for the Pardesi channel. I've already posted my spoiler-free, completely spoiler-free review of Bharat Ane Nenu starring Mahesh Babu. If you haven't seen the film, stop now. Go watch that one. But if you have seen the film, this is the video where we can discuss some of the things that we really liked about the movie. So again, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. You can watch my completely spoiler-free review of the film. I give you, an overview of that I liked it, and then it's worth seeing, and then it is a very fine performance by Mahesh Babu. But I give none of the plot details away in that video, and I encourage you to go into the film not knowing everything. So please, if you have not seen the film, watch that first. Okay, and there should be a link in the doobly-doo. So here, spoiler. Kartik, my partner behind the scenes, always admonishes me because it's really difficult for me to discuss films and what I like about them without giving any details away at all. And I really tried my hardest because I know this is a really big film for a lot of people. And, there's something special about going into a film and not knowing everything. But there's a lot of things that I want to talk about with this film. And I've just been thinking about it since I saw it this afternoon. Mahesh has done some very fine performances in his career. I haven't seen all of his films from the beginning of time, but I've probably seen, 8 or 9 films, and he does really well expressing deep emotions. A lot of times he kind of gives that appearance of the strong silent type, but he can show a depth of emotion. But this was something new. This was something where he was taking on this role of a politician, which I don't think he's ever done anything like this before. And the intensity of the speeches that he did just had such a new character to them, such a polish, just such an intensity, especially if you've seen the film. In the second half, there's that press conference scene. I mean, the speeches he gives from the assembly floor and when he first becomes the chief prime minister are all very good. But then we get to that point of that press conference when he's been betrayed and everyone is gossiping about him and, his girlfriend. And everything is just so intense, and that he has that whole room of reporters in the palm of his hand, and he's, shaking his finger and talking right into the camera to everyone in the entire state who's been gossiping about him. Wow, that was just such a moment. I don't think I have seen him do a finer speech in his entire career. It was so intense. And really great writing by director Siva for that segment. So when we started the film, I thought it was so interesting that he was playing a character who had essentially, for most of his life, grown up outside of India. And they didn't explore it fully, deeply, this abandonment of his father. I guess they did in a way with him establishing the relationship with the younger brother that he had, interestingly, had never met. They didn't go as deep into the emotions of some of those issues that they might have. You know what I mean? There was some stuff left on the table, but it just added to the complexity of his character, that this was a flawed man. This was a man trying to live up to what his idea of what his father was. His father had created this political party and had sacrificed family life to make this, and then Mahesh felt obligated to carry on his legacy, even though when his father remarried, he moved with that other family to London and just got, at the beginning they talk about how he had degree after degree, and I was thinking about that, this is a kid that didn't want to come home. He just kept making excuse after excuse to keep going to college, and get another degree so that he wouldn't have to come home. And then finally, because his father dies, he does. And I was suspicious right from the beginning when they had to do the cremation so fast. Like, okay, you don't hire Prakash Raj to be in your movie if he's just going to be a cuddly uncle, right? Like, there's something going on with Prakash Raj. I talked to Kartik on the phone. We both saw the first showing in different parts of the U.S., and we talked on the phone, and he was surprised with some of the twists in the last half, and I wasn't so surprised. I kind of had a feeling from the beginning. They explored like those 2 weeks after the funeral when he arrives in India and he's in the traffic and he's just looking at it with those outsider eyes. I found that fascinating, and I kind of wanted to talk about it in the comments and let me know if you thought the film was too preachy on those points of like showing things that were bad about India, and then he's just snapping his fingers and wanting to fix everything immediately. Like, was he too cocky? Was he too full of pride? Was he too, I'm an outsider and I'm just going to fix everything? And I thought that was kind of going to be his downfall and his flaw, and that wasn't. He still was kind of upheld as just this perfect politician and pure man. And in Yiddish we'd call him a mensch. He was just like a super nice human, super do-gooder. And his flaw was just that he was viewing his relationship with the girlfriend from an outsider perspective, and he didn't do things in the proper way to protect her, if you know what I mean. Like, he asked her, he had never done anything untoward in their meetings. That wasn't implied. It was just that he didn't ask her for marriage in the proper way to protect her when he was such a public person. So when those scenes happened with the phone call and he's trying to make the coffee date, how funny was that? I love that there was at least those light moments in an otherwise sometimes heavy and drama-filled film. But those scenes reminded me, not all of you may have seen this, but there was a Michael Douglas, Annette Bening film. I don't know if it was the 80s or the 90s or whatever, but it was called The American President. And so in that, Michael Douglas plays the U.S. president who is a widower, and he's trying to date, and it's all very awkward. And there was a similar thing where he's trying to personally call her, or he's trying to like buy her flowers, and it's just this whole thing because he's the president, and it's just hard for him to date in a normal way. And that's what those scenes reminded me of, and I just thought those were the perfect scenes to show some humor and show he may be so confident and so, competent in so many other aspects, but he was still kind of a shy guy and kind of awkward and whatever with the girl that he has a crush on. Oh my gosh, his personal secretary giving him the side roll, like, you think she's working a sorry at the post office. Okay, those were really fun. So there wasn't maybe as much romance as, I like, but there was still some, and it was not just shoehorned in the film for no reason, because that really was kind of his flaw, that he didn't see he should be careful about his relationship with any girl to protect her, with any young woman, and he didn't do everything that he could to make their relationship seem completely above board and up and up. But it's awkward. How can you, he was trying to protect her by keeping it private, and yet then everything came crashing down from that. So how many of you guys saw what was coming at the end when all of the bad guys are coming after him, because he's like, just have them all come, and then there's another mob, and I knew the other mob was on his side, and Kartik was like, how did you know that? I'm like, okay, I saw that one coming. I just knew the scene was going to come where they were going to run past him to go to the other people. But I still enjoyed watching it, even if to me it was kind of predictable. There weren't so many huge plot twists that really took me by surprise or anything like that. It was more, I just, it unfolded the way that I thought it was going to unfold, and it was still enjoyable watching it all happen. I just come back to that performance, though, of Mahesh as being So exemplary. I want to give some shout outs to some of the supporting players. I thought newcomer Kiara, what a great fresh face. She just, even though she didn't have a lot of lines, she showed a lot of personality in what she did have, and I thought she did a really good job in the couple dance numbers. The guy who played the best friend in Arjun Reddy, I mentioned him in the spoiler free. I think his name is Rahul Ramakrishna, and this was a very different kind of role than that sarcastic best friend he was in Arjun Reddy. But I'm just still delighted that he's getting work. He's getting good supporting roles, and this was good because he just they kind of made him more unkempt and whatever, but he just kind of had that earnest look of, yeah, a young guy is gonna risk it all and run. I love that scene when Mahesh is trying to protect him and he's just sleeping and doesn't even know all the chaos that's going on around him. Okay, the action scenes, there is no one, I'm serious, there is no one who looks cooler than Mahesh in an action scene. And director Shiva just does such a great job with the slow-mo and all of that. And okay, maybe it's cliched, but I still love it. I still absolutely love it. And normally they do these action scenes outside with dry leaves so that you have all of the motion of the slow-mo dry leaves. And I loved it that it was happening in a movie theater, that first big action sequence. And so then instead of leaves, it was all of those movie tickets. I thought that was just perfect. It was like clouds of movie tickets coming up when anyone would hit the floor or, scuffle or whatever would happen. That was just awesome. That scene where everyone was kind of smoking cigars together in the back room, like all the opposition parties and everyone. It was almost like something out of The Godfather or something. Do you know what I mean? Where you just have people who outwardly seem to be enemies, but yet they're kind of all working together. And Mahesh was just that dramatic slamming the guy on the table. Yeah, that was quite another quite intense scene. Overall, I don't know that this is my favorite Shiva film. I don't know that it's my favorite Mahesh film. I don't know if it's one that I'm going to watch over and over and over again, but I do. It's not like a comfort watch like Srimantadu would be. You know what I mean? That's one that it's just so enjoyable to be in that world and relive it. This one is a little bit more intense, and you might have to be in the right mood to watch it over and over again. But still, I come back to those speeches that Mahesh gives. I think are just going to live on as being career best acting moments. And so this film has a nice balance. It has masala elements with the action scenes and the car chase and so forth. And it has some lighter moments of comedy, but not the slapstick comedy uncle kind of comedy. And then it has good drama and a decent script. And it made sense, which Brahmatsavam did not make sense. I walked out of there, I'm like, and it had great music, really great music. Devi Sri Prasad, oh my gosh, that village song, oh my gosh, that was just so beautiful. I really enjoyed the other dance numbers in the other parts of the film. I don't know song is still not my favorite, but the dance sequence in Spain or wherever it was really fun. The Spanish dancers were just off the chain good. But my favorite of the whole film though is just that beautiful large musical production in the second half in the village fair. Wow, just such a standout musical number. It's going to be one of my favorites for a long time. And I knew from the stills that this was going to be the one, and listening to the music, that I was going to love it, but I didn't know I was going to love it this much. Like, wow, so good. I'm learning that I really love Devi Sri Prasad's music. The background music, as I said in my spoiler-free review, I thought was really strong, and I liked how he interwove the title theme throughout a lot of the key dramatic moments. I liked Mahesh's relationship with the younger brother and how he kind of reconciled with his stepmother. There wasn't much for the daughter to do, for his sister to do, was there, now that I'm thinking about it? But there was stuff that was left there that they could have explored more, kind of the family drama, but they went more on the side of doing the political drama, which left me a little bit more at sea because I didn't completely understand. I'm an outsider. I don't completely understand what the full duties of a chief minister would entail, what it was all about, all the powers that he had, the dynamics between being the party leader and being chief minister, and that push and pull that he had with Prakash Raj's position. I mean, I got some of it on a superficial level, but I know if you're from India, you just probably got so much more out of those scenes than I did. You know, they were just, not that they were confusing, I just know that I wasn't getting the full flavor of the meaning of what some of those scenes were all about. And but I think this is really a solid film, and I'm glad for both Shiva and especially for Mahesh that it looks like it's gonna be a big hit. And so let me know what you think in the comments. Here you can go full spoiler, tell me what your favorite scenes were, tell me what you liked about it, what you might not have liked about it. That's why I made the separate spoiler free, so we could discuss here and leave that one for the people who have not had a chance to see the film yet. If you like this film review, please press that like button, share the video, follow us on Twitter at PardeziYT. Subscribe to the Pardesi channel here on YouTube, and if you hit the bell, you get a notification whenever I have a new film review, trailer reaction, and now I'm starting to do live streams.